Okay, so we're going to go to Xena. I bet you're excited about that, right? Okay. While working on Xena, what were some of the things that you found different working in New Zealand versus the U.S.?
I don't know if I can actually say that it's different culturally. As some things I think are just because of the type of show it is. So it might be similar here in the United States. I mean, well, first of all, it's just New Zealanders. They're awesome. I mean, there's something very focused yet laid back about New Zealanders. Like, they're very hard workers. Everybody wants to, you know, make the day and do a great job. But there's no, I mean, I'm sure there's some, but there's like no major stress about it. You know, it's very rare that people are yelling. You know, I mean, it's just a pretty relaxed, really well-run set. I mean, I don't know things that are different. I mean, you know, there's obvious things, like the locations are stunning. I mean, you know, that part was just such a bonus feature to the whole job, was that you get to see this amazing scenery and all of these cool places that even if I had been, say, a tourist there, I wouldn't have gotten to see all of these amazing locations. So stuff like that's really cool.
So technically, though, you didn't really find anything different about working on a set where you're basically working with foreigners, like the way they set up or the way they told you to set something up or the way that they did their lighting, nothing like that.
Mean, the main difference is that in America, hands down, without exception, you have a different hair person and makeup person because those are two different unions and they do not cross.
Right.
In New Zealand, every person who does makeup also does hair.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, that's the only major difference.
Cool. Okay. You've probably been asked this 100 times, but I'm going to go ahead. What did you learn? Because Lucy and Renee have very different acting styles. They talk about it all the time. Okay? So, what did you learn working with Lucy Lawless, acting-wise?
Acting-wise?
We can do friendship-wise, I guess.
Well, I mean, I don't want to repeat either, because I've certainly talked about that a little bit, but I'll go into more detail on that. I mean, I think I was really blessed working with Lucy and Renee at the point in my career and just at the point in my life that I did, because, I mean, I'm a hard worker. I'm someone who's really focused on set. I want everybody to do a great job, and I want it to, I want everybody giving their best so that the product is the best. That's just kind of, my natural thing. But working with Lucy and Renee just sealed that even more, because the lead actors on a series determine everything. If you have lead actors that are lazy or that are mean or that are self-serving, it influences every single aspect. It determines how the crew works. It determines how your days go. It determines everything. And both Lucy and Renee were so inspiring and so, I mean, you would hope that anybody in that situation would be as awesome as they were, but it's not the case. But they were, I mean, it was just great. It's exactly how I would want to be should I be the lead in a series or the lead in a film. Because the way, their positive attitude and their drive to do the best that they can and get the work done. And, Lucy would always say, okay, let's make the day. Like, just randomly in the middle of nothing, she would just, yell out these, not exactly inspirational, but certainly motivational things that would just kind of get everybody going. And it was so great to see that she would take that initiative and just, just be that person.
Right.
And it really, because I was so young at the time, I don't think I realized, and because that's just sort of naturally, I mean, I feel lucky to have worked with them because our personalities sort of all gelled together, which was great.
Yep.
But having worked on other series since then and certainly not finding that same sort of leadership, I mean, it really has sealed the deal for me, where if I ever have that opportunity, I mean, I would never, not only would I never take that for granted, but I mean, it's a challenge that deserves the right person. And if it's given to the wrong person, the entire show, everybody there could be miserable.
What about their acting techniques? Did you, because you've said you learn from people as you work with them.
Certainly.
So your acting technique, I don't know for sure, but sounds a little bit more like Renee. She always talks about being more focused, more, and Lucy's more of a on-off person.
Yeah, well, I mean, it also was part of their characters,
right.
But I mean, certainly I'm similar to Renee in the way that we do backstories and the way that we develop characters and our focus in that sense. And I loved working with Renee because Renee is probably the most generous actor I've ever worked with. I mean, particularly when you're talking leads in a show, they work such long hours. It's a crazy amount of work. And the way it normally works is that I mean, not on every show, but a lot of times you'll have stand-ins or something else so that when the lead actor's bare minimum of work is done, they are out of there. But Renee is someone who would stay and give you 100% every single take. You know, it could be midnight, and she's there with you to the same degree that she was at 8 in the morning. And that is just, I mean, that's amazing. I mean, that's a commitment to, you know, give a good performance. And it's also just such respect, because the lead actors on a show always get their coverage first. So she gives, you know, you are giving her everything so that she can get the best performance she can. But then when the camera flips around, I mean, she's not on camera anymore, so she doesn't technically have to give you that much, but she would always be right there. And that was just, I was so grateful for that, because, you know, as a guest actor, you kind of always do, that's your job, you always do it, and it never would occur to me to not do that in any sense. But once you have leads on series, and particularly once they've been there for a few years, I mean, it makes total sense that they have such long work days that they should get a break. But for her to have that commitment was really amazing. I mean, Lucy, she just had, I mean, I learned different things from her. I don't know, maybe this is not interesting to anybody but me, but this is something I was thinking of the other day. And it's not exactly about acting, but there's just a quality that Lucy has that is so, like, joyous. There's just something where, you know, Lucy, it was great because no matter how much stress she was under or how big her day was, Lucy was always ready and able to play and to just, you know, just like mess around and joke around and just, you know, there was always a sense of play and a sense of fun, which is so important on a show, but particularly a show like Xena because of the type of material we're doing. And you have to be able to have fun, but you have to be able to have serious, but you have to be able to have fun to make the material work.
Right, absolutely.
But I mean, I don't know if I'm making sense, but what I was getting to is that the other day I was going through all of these pictures, and I found this picture of Lucy, and it just, well, first of all, it just makes me smile every time I see it. And there's nothing really extraordinary about it, except that it absolutely captures so much of her personality. It was when we were working on Who's Her Con on that boat.
Right.
And so she was later than the rest of us, so they were driving her, whatever you say, they were bringing her by boat onto the big ship. Right. And so I had my camera there, and I was taking pictures of all the cast and crew that day.
I remember this.
And she was stepping from the small boat onto the bigger boat. And I was like, hey, Lucy. And, you know, she saw me there with a camera, and she posed for me. And it was just...
That's caught in one of the behind-the-scenes videos.
Really?
Yeah, because you see her stepping off the boat, but I don't think I realized it was you. But she, like, stops and does something, and then she keeps going, and it must have been you taking the picture.
Well, I mean, I still have this picture, and it's so sweet. I mean, she's there. She's probably in her costume, but she has, like, the robe on over it, and she's got these big sunglasses on. And, I mean, you know, it was just such a sweet moment to me because she just throws her arms up in the air, and she smiles. And there's such a sense of play and such a sweet sense of just happiness, you know, that you're just, you know... just making the best of everything. Because I'm sure, you know, she at the time was a new mom, and, you know, I mean, I can't even imagine how exhausted she must have been just from life, from, you know, from being a mom and from being the lead on a series and everything else. But to still have that sense of happiness and that just sweet joy was so... And I just think that's really evident in her work, you know? And that's certainly something that I learned from her, just to always enjoy it.